By the way, how many of you are enjoying this conference so far? Good, okay. And how many of you came to the stuff yesterday and the earliest stuff? Oh, most of you. Okay, good. So you've learned good stuff so far? And you expect to learn more? Yeah, stuff you're going to implement and make happen as part of your vision? Do you realize there are people back where you work who are dreading your return? Oh, every time she goes to one of these things, she comes back with all these crazy ideas, you know. Just give her time, she'll forget it. Yeah, she'll get over it, you know. Load her up with other work. Held the book up and said, okay, this is Larry Johnson, co-author of Absolute Honesty. Mr. Johnson, Absolute Honesty, are you telling me that you're supposed to be absolutely honest all the time? And I said, well, whenever you can, of course, you know, honesty's important. He said, okay, so your daughter comes down the stairs on prom night and she's wearing a dress that you hate. And she says, how do I look, Dad? He said, what would you say to her? I said, I'd look her right in the eye and lie through my teeth. He said, but I thought you said you're supposed to be absolutely honest. I said, yeah, but not absolutely stupid. There's stories about Ray Kroc where he would come into McDonald's, just show up at a McDonald's and do an inspection. In fact, he did one inspection in Ontario, Canada, walked in and he found a dead fly in the grease where they fry the French fries. Ugh. And so, you know what he did? He shut the place down. He fired everybody. Didn't fire the manager, fired everybody, closed the restaurant down, and then get this, he brought a bulldozer out and had the building bulldozed and sold the property. Now, you could ask, why would he do that? Well, he was crazy. It was Looney Tunes. But he sure established a clear value for that corporation, didn't he? Quality, service, cleanliness, and value. And poor Tim here, he still thinks about it 22 years later. Yeah, my guess is we're not getting, most of us not getting enough, and sometimes we have the pleasure, quote unquote, of working for somebody who's a praise miser. Sort of takes the attitude, my people know they're doing a good job when they don't hear from me. You ever work for somebody like that? That's like the guy that tells his wife, I told you I loved you when we got married. If I change my mind, I'll let you know. Ain't that special? You see, if that guy behind the counter in New Orleans that had just managed my perception of the event, if he'd had just thought about how I was perceiving it, he could have done it entirely differently. For one thing, he could have acted like he cared. So, this guy behind the counter, I think all he had to do was just act like he cared. Even if he didn't. He could have just faked it. He could have said, I can see you're in a hurry. Okay, I'm going to put this through as quickly as I can. Now, I can't promise they'll hold it, but I'll call down and see if they'll hold the plane. Now you run. That's all he had to do. And even if he didn't really care, after I ran off, he could have gone, and my perception of the entire experience would have been entirely different. Yeah, if I'd asked for your input, might have cooperated a little more? Sure. Sure. Yeah. You know, this is such a powerful concept. My daughter taught me this concept when she was very young. She was about 6 years old. And at the time, I was working in the construction industry. And it was 1974. Anybody remember what happened in 1974? There's an oil embargo. I know some of you are going, huh? I wasn't born. Yeah. Yeah, the oil embargo, and Nixon resigned, and the economy went in the toilet. And this little construction company I had, basically, I had to, liquidate and fire everybody who worked for me. I just couldn't afford to operate. We didn't work for over a year. So we were financially pretty tight. And my daughter, who I tend to spoil, she continued to want things. And would say, Daddy, can I have a new bike? I'd say, no. Well, why not? Well, we don't have the money. What do you mean we don't have the money? We don't have the money. We can't afford it. Well, I saw money in your wallet. Well, that's for different things. Well, why can't I spend it on a bike? And then I'd say, because I said so. That's standard management practice, right? Well, one evening my wife overheard us having one of these arguments, and she said, Larry, why don't we include her when we write the checks and pay the bills so that she will understand where the money goes, so she gets a bigger picture. Now, this was 25 years ago, almost 30. I was a whole lot younger. I had lots more testosterone than I do now. I think it's all drained out. And I said, what? Open my checkbook to my 6-year-old kid? I don't think so. And my wife said, why not? And I said, well, she wouldn't understand it. My wife said, Larry, what's there to understand? 0 is 0. And after a while, I thought about it. I said, well, okay. So I wanted to illustrate it, and I didn't have enough dollars on hand to do it with cash, so I used some little building blocks, those Lego kind of things that she had. I put them in the middle of the dining room table, and I said, now, sweetheart, let's pretend that each one of these is $1. I said, here's how many dollars we get every month right now. I said, now, here's how many we have to send to the bank because the bank owns our house. And if we don't pay the bank, they'll take our house away. I said, and here's how many dollars we spend on our car. Because the bank owns our car. And if we don't pay them, they'll take our car away. I said, and here's how much we have left for food and clothes. And we spend that every month. And until Mommy or Daddy gets a job, and we're looking, I said, that's how it is. And if you have any ideas, we'd love to hear those ideas. Without saying a word, she got up and she went into her room, and she came out with her piggy bank. She said, here, Daddy, will this help? I got to tell you, I thought I'd cry.
I wouldn't.
Anyway, after I took the piggy bank, just kidding. Just kidding. But I was tempted. It was real heavy. I said, where'd you get all this money? Yeah. Justin, I could have told you why, included you in this decision. That would have helped, right? Okay, now think about this. Those of you in leadership positions in this company, when you get into a leadership role, you become a famous person. How many of you are managers or supervisors? You manage it. Okay, you're the famous people here. Do you realize there are many dinner time conversations about you? Yeah, they talk about you. Their kids talk about you at school. My daddy's boss a bigger jerk than your daddy's boss. And they watch you. They watch you for what you do. They watch you for what you don't do. And those of you who aspire to leadership positions, applies to you too.